In 2004, a cataclysmic tsunami rippled across the Indian Ocean, slamming into the eastern coast of India with unimaginable force. But in Tiruchendur, something happened that defied the very laws of physics. The Tiruchendur Murugan temple sits right near the shoreline, yet the massive waves couldn't touch it. The surrounding areas were heavily flooded, but the temple itself stayed completely protected. It was as if an invisible wall had been erected at the coast. If you ask the locals, they'll tell you about an ancient promise where the sea god Varuna vowed to never cross the threshold of Murugan's sacred ground. Skeptics, of course, call it a lucky coincidence of nature. But what if both sides are missing the full story? If you look deeper into ancient literature and inscriptions, you uncover something far more incredible. This modern anomaly is actually the final chapter of a multi-generational war between a legendary dynasty and the rising ocean. And at the center of it all, a mortal king wielding a spear that could tame the sea. I'm Dhyanesh, and on this channel, we dig past the surface of ancient legends to uncover the real history and knowledge lost to time. I'm also an author, and my latest book reimagines Murugan's Vel as a cosmic device. If you want to dive deeper into the world of Skanda, you can get your copy through the link in the description. To understand why the ocean retreated at Tiruchendur, we have to travel back in time to ancient Madurai. Most people know Lord Murugan as a celestial deity, the six-headed commander of the Deva army who rides a magnificent peacock and wields the divine veil. But the Thiruvilayadal Puranam records a forgotten era when Murugan walked the earth as a mortal king. The epic details the reign of Queen Meenakshi and Lord Sundareshwara in the sacred city of Madurai. But this divine story didn't end with their historic wedding. To ensure the survival of the Pandyan dynasty, the couple gave birth to a prince named Ugra Pandya. He was the manifestation of Murugan himself. Ugra Pandya was rigorously trained in warfare, statecraft and royal administration. But when the time came to leave the empire in his hands, his skills weren't going to be enough. He needed a weapon to fight the threats that lay ahead. And that's why his parents gave him the powerful veil. The enigmatic weapon of Murugan was now in the hands of his mortal manifestation. And Ugra Pandya wasted no time in using it to protect his people. The Thiruvilayadal Puranam records 3 legendary feats during his reign. When a severe drought threatened his kingdom, he confronted and defeated Indra to bring rain back to Madurai. Later, he marched all the way to the sacred Mount Meru, bringing back immense riches for his kingdom. But it was his third achievement that would burn his name into the civilizational memory of southern India. Because very soon, the young king would wake up to face a cataclysmic disaster. The night the ocean rose to swallow his entire world. King Ugra Pandya performed many Ashwamedha yajnas, his influence growing by the day. His power began to rival Indra himself. And naturally, the king of the gods grew deeply envious. He ordered Varuna to unleash a great flood and wipe the Pandyan kingdom off the map. Massive waves surged from the ocean, rushing to engulf the city. The citizens of Madurai were fast asleep, blissfully unaware of the looming danger. If you are a mere mortal facing an unstoppable apocalypse, your first instinct would be to panic and evacuate the city. But Ugra Pandya didn't do any of that. Instead, he rushed to the shoreline, determined to stop this disaster. Standing on the rocky edge, he hurled the divine veil right at the raging ocean. Varuna recognized the king's divinity the moment his veil pierced the water. The sea god made a hasty retreat and the ocean became calm again. When the morning sun rose over Madurai, its citizens woke up completely safe. They celebrated their king for protecting them even while they slept. Because of this miraculous feat, Ugra Pandya was given a legendary title. Kadal Vadimbalamban Indra Pandyan, the Pandya who stood as the ocean washed his feet, the human king who forced the sea to retreat. It's an epic story of rebellion against disaster, but it leaves us with a massive question. If this was just a fantastical legend, why did Tamil literature and historical records boast of this feat for thousands of years? Look at the Silappadikaram, one of the greatest epics of Tamil literature. In Book 2, it details the exploits of a much later ruler, King Nedunjayan. Here, he stands on the shore of the sea and throws his veil into the fierce waters. He also defeated Indra to bring storm clouds back to the Pandyan lands. Sound familiar? Nedunjayan was actually boasting of his ancestor Ugra Pandya's feats to assert his own dynastic authority. But this legend extended well into the medieval period, etched proudly into inscriptions. Take the Larger Sinnamanur Copper Plates, dated to the 10th century CE. The Tamil portion of this royal charter lists the historical achievements of the Pandyan lineage. Look at this line. It's a clear reference to the Ugra Pandya story of subduing the sea. Like always, the Vel is explicitly mentioned, leaving no doubt that this is about Murugan's mortal manifestation. Even the Sanskrit portion of these plates opens with a verse dedicated to the king who subdued the ocean. For over 1,000 years, this dynasty has boasted of a legendary feat. They were masters of the sea. Which brings us right back to the 2004 tsunami and the untouched temple of Tiruchendur. Modern oceanographers and geologists have a very rational explanation for why the temple survived. They point out that the tsunami had lost a lot of its force because the Gulf of Mannar was sheltered by the landmass of Sri Lanka, and the specific topography around the Tiruchendur promontory naturally deflected the incoming waves. But can we dismiss this as a lucky accident? The Pandyas were survivors of a changing planet. The rising ocean literally swallowed their ancient lands and historical capitals. They were a civilization locked in a multi-generational war with the rising sea level. They knew exactly what the ocean was capable of. And the veil Ugra Pandya used was far more than a physical spear. It is the Shakti Astra, a symbol of sharp intellect. So when Ugra Pandya hurled his veil at the ocean, he deployed knowledge. The Pandyas used their deep understanding of the ocean's currents and underwater topography to map the safest places on land. At Tiruchendur, they picked the best spot to build a structure that could withstand the fury of the ocean for millennia. Legend goes that Murugan chose this place as his sanctuary after defeating Surapadma. This connects right back to the story of his mortal manifestation, conquering the uncontrollable force. The veil has always taught us to look past the surface. It's an advanced device that is much more than a simple spear. If you're curious about what the veil actually is, I explore this concept in my brand new book. Follow Skanda as he races against time to wield this enigmatic weapon that channels a cosmic force. Can he summon the Anoranu before Surapadma conquers the world? Find out in Vel, Harnessing the Anoranu. I've put the link in the description below. Be sure to grab your copy. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a forgotten history, give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time.